on July 22, 2011, Norway experienced its deadliest attack since World War II in a meticulously planned dual assault. Anders Behring Breivik detonated a car bomb in Oslo's government quarter before traveling to the island of Utøya, where he systematically hunted and killed young people attending a political youth camp. The attacks killed 77 people and injured hundreds more, forever altering Norway's sense of security and marking a disturbing evolution in the nature of politically motivated violence. The Breivik case represents a critical turning point in understanding 21st-century terrorism. Unlike the ideologically driven attacks of previous eras, this was a massacre fueled by far-right ideology, executed by a lone actor who used the internet to radicalize himself and disseminate his manifesto. The attack demonstrated how modern technology, social isolation, and extremist echo chambers could transform grievance into unprecedented violence. The attacks, a timeline of terror. The Oslo bombing. At 3:25 p.m. on July 22, 2011, a massive explosion tore through Redringsvad, Oslo's government district. Breivik had constructed a fertilizer-based car bomb and parked a white van outside the building, housing the office of Prime Minister Jens Stoltenberg. The blast killed 8 people and injured over 200, devastating several government buildings and shattering windows across downtown Oslo. The bombing served a calculated purpose beyond the immediate casualties. It was designed as a diversion, drawing emergency services and police resources to the capital while Breivik proceeded to his primary target. The confusion and chaos in Oslo meant that critical minutes were lost before authorities could respond to reports from Utøya. The Utøya massacre. Disguised as a police officer, Breivik drove northwest from Oslo to Tyrifjorden Lake. At approximately 5 p.m., he arrived at Utøya Island, where the Workers' Youth League, AUF, the youth wing of Norway's Labour Party, was holding its annual summer camp. Over 600 young people, mostly teenagers, were gathered on the small wooded island. Breivik presented fake police credentials, claiming he needed to conduct a security check following the Oslo bombing. Once on the island, he opened fire. For the next 72 minutes, Breivik methodically moved across the island, hunting down teenagers who tried to hide in buildings, behind rocks, or in the water. Some victims were shot while trying to swim to safety. Others were killed at point-blank range while begging for their lives. The massacre on Utøya claimed 69 lives, with victims ranging in age from 14 to 51. Many were shot multiple times. The methodical nature of the killing, combined with the remote island location and Breivik's police disguise, created a nightmare scenario where young people had nowhere to run and no way to distinguish genuine help from their attacker. The perpetrator, profile and radicalization. Anders Behring Breivik was born in Oslo in 1979 to a Norwegian mother and a Norwegian father with a diplomatic career. His childhood was marked by his parents' divorce and a reportedly difficult relationship with his mother. Psychological evaluations during his trial revealed a complex picture of his development. Though experts disagreed on his mental state, by his 20s Breivik had become increasingly isolated and consumed by far-right ideology. He spent years active in online forums dedicated to anti-Muslim, anti-immigration, and extreme nationalist rhetoric. His worldview centered on a conspiracy theory he called cultural Marxism, which claimed that European elites were deliberately destroying Western civilization through multiculturalism and immigration. In the years leading up to the attacks, Breivik meticulously planned his assault. He established a cover business to purchase large quantities of fertilizer for bomb making, underwent weapons training, and spent months writing a 1,518-page manifesto titled 2083, A European Declaration of Independence. This document, which he distributed electronically hours before the attacks, outlined his ideology and presented the attacks as the opening salvo in a civilizational war. Ideology and motivation. Breivik's ideology represented a modern evolution of far-right extremism, blending traditional European nationalism with contemporary Islamophobia and conspiratorial thinking. He viewed himself not as a terrorist but as a knight defending European civilization from what he perceived as Islamic colonization enabled by left-wing politicians. His target selection was deliberate and symbolic. The Labour Party, in his view, embodied the multiculturalist policies he blamed for Norway's destruction. By attacking their youth wing, he aimed to strike at what he saw as the next generation of traitors. The brutality reflected his view that extraordinary violence was necessary to awaken Europeans to the supposed threat facing them. What makes Breivik's ideology particularly significant in the 21st century context is its synthesis. He drew inspiration from contemporary European far-right movements, American conservative blogs, historical crusader imagery, and violent video game culture. His manifesto cited hundreds of online sources, demonstrating how the internet had created new pathways for radicalization outside traditional organizational structures. The trial and its aftermath. Breivik's trial in 2012 became one of the most closely watched in Norwegian history. The central question was not whether he committed the attacks, he admitted this immediately, but whether he was legally sane and therefore criminally responsible. This distinction mattered under Norwegian law, determining whether he would receive a prison sentence or compulsory psychiatric care. During the trial, Breivik showed no remorse and used the proceedings as a platform for his ideology. He gave a clenched fist salute and described the attacks as cruel but necessary. Survivors and victims. Families endured the ordeal of hearing him justify the murders of their loved ones. Ultimately, the court found Breivik sane and sentenced him to forvaring, a special Norwegian form of preventive detention with a 21-year term that can be extended indefinitely for as long as he is deemed a threat to society. He remains imprisoned at Ringerike prison, where he has continued to express extremist views and has attempted to form a fascist organization from his cell.
Norway's response. Democracy under fire. Norway's response to the attacks revealed the nation's character and values. Prime Minister Stoltenberg's immediate declaration that Norway would respond with more democracy, more openness, set the tone for the national reaction. Rather than implementing sweeping security measures or curtailing civil liberties, Norwegian society largely reaffirmed its commitment to its open, democratic values. This approach was not without controversy. Critics argued that Norway's security and intelligence services had failed to prevent the attacks despite warning signs. A government commission identified numerous failures in the police response, particularly the delayed deployment to Utøya. These shortcomings led to reforms in Norway's emergency response systems and police capabilities. However, the broader societal response emphasized resilience and unity. The Rose March following the attack saw over 200,000 people gather in Oslo and hundreds of thousands more across Norway, carrying roses in a symbol of peace and democracy. This collective mourning and reaffirmation of values became emblematic of Norway's determination not to let terror change its fundamental character. The 21st Century Shift. Understanding Modern Ideological Violence. The Breivik attacks marked a watershed moment in understanding contemporary terrorism. Several elements distinguish his actions from both historical political violence and other forms of modern terrorism. The lone actor phenomenon. While Breivik initially claimed to be part of a larger organization, investigations found no evidence of co-conspirators. He represents the lone wolf, or lone actor model of terrorism that has become increasingly common in the Internet age. Unlike traditional terrorist organizations with hierarchical structures, funding networks, and operational support, Breivik radicalized and planned independently. This presents unique challenges for security services. Traditional counterterrorism methods focus on infiltrating organizations, tracking communications between members, and disrupting logistical support. Lone actors leave fewer investigative traces and no organizational structure to penetrate. Internet radicalization. Breivik's path to violence ran through online forums, blogs, and echo chambers where extremist views were normalized and amplified. He spent years consuming and contributing to far-right content without any face-to-face contact with organized extremist groups. This digital radicalization pathway has become a defining feature of 21st century extremism. The Internet allowed Breivik to construct an ideological framework by cherry-picking from diverse sources, creating a personalized extremist worldview. His manifesto functioned as both an explanation of his actions and a tool for inspiring others, distributed globally within minutes of the attacks. Target selection and symbolism. Unlike attacks targeting random civilians for maximum casualties, Breivik's violence was highly ideological in its target selection. He attacked institutions and individuals he viewed as responsible for policies he opposed. This pattern of ideologically motivated targeting has appeared in subsequent far-right attacks, from the 2019 Christchurch mosque shootings to various synagogue attacks. The symbolic dimension matters because it reflects how modern extremists view violence not just as destructive, but as communicative, sending a message to both supporters and opponents. Breivik explicitly framed his actions as propaganda by deed, intended to inspire others and provoke a reaction. The manifesto culture. The lengthy manifesto Breivik produced and distributed has become a template copied by subsequent attackers. These documents serve multiple purposes: self-justification, ideological instruction, and inspiration for potential followers. The manifesto phenomenon represents a modern evolution, where attackers use violence as a platform for disseminating their worldview, knowing that the notoriety of their actions will drive readers to their writings. Global implications and legacy. The ripple effects of July 22, 2011 extended far beyond Norway's borders. The attack served as both warning and inspiration, revealing vulnerabilities while providing a model for like-minded extremists. The rise of far-right terrorism. In the years following Breivik's attacks, far-right terrorism has surged globally. Attackers in Christchurch, 2019, Pittsburgh, 2018, El Paso, 2019, and elsewhere have explicitly cited Breivik as an inspiration. His manifesto has circulated in extremist circles, studied by those sharing his ideology. Security services worldwide have had to recalibrate their focus. For years after 9/11, counterterrorism efforts concentrated overwhelmingly on jihadist threats. Breivik's attacks demonstrated that far-right extremism posed a comparable danger, requiring equivalent resources and attention. The challenge of online extremism. The Breivik case accelerated debates about online radicalization and the responsibility of platforms hosting extremist content. His use of relatively mainstream websites to develop his ideology, combined with his distribution of a manifesto across multiple platforms, highlighted how difficult it is to prevent the spread of extremist material in an age of instant global communication. Subsequent attackers have live-streamed their violence, distributed manifestos through encrypted channels, and cultivated followings on fringe platforms. The fundamental tension between free expression and preventing radicalization that Breivik's case exposed remains unresolved. Redefining terrorism. The attacks challenged conventional definitions of terrorism. In the immediate aftermath, some public discourse struggled to apply the term terrorism to a white European attacking his own country. This highlighted how terrorism had become associated primarily with jihadist violence, obscuring the broader reality that terrorism is defined by methods and goals rather than perpetrator identity. Breivik's case helped catalyze a more inclusive understanding of terrorism that recognizes threats across the ideological spectrum. This conceptual shift has been crucial in developing comprehensive counterterrorism strategies. Lessons for prevention and response. More than a decade after the attacks, what lessons emerge for preventing and responding to this form of violence? Early intervention. Breivik displayed various warning signs in the years before his attacks, from his online activity to his bulk purchases of materials. The challenge lies in distinguishing genuine threats from the much larger pool of individuals who express extremist views without acting on them. Developing better threat assessment tools and intervention programs remains an ongoing challenge. Community resilience. Norway's response demonstrated the power of societal resilience and the affirmation of democratic values in the face of terror. Rather than allowing fear to drive division, Norwegian society largely united around its core principles. This resilience serves as a model, though it depends on specific social and political conditions that may not be replicable everywhere. Comprehensive counterterrorism. The attacks underscored the need for counterterrorism efforts that address threats across the ideological spectrum. Resources, attention, and preventive programs must be distributed based on actual threat levels rather than assumptions or previous patterns. Balance and proportionality. Norway's determination to maintain an open society, even after experiencing such devastating violence, raises important questions about how democracies should respond to terrorism. The Norwegian approach suggests that measured responses protecting core values may be more effective long-term than reactive security measures that alter the character of society. Conclusion. Anders Breivik's attacks on July 23, 2011 represented a horrifying culmination of modern extremist violence. The 77 lives taken that day, young people full of promise, public servants at work, adults supervising teenagers at a summer camp, remind us of the human cost of ideological hatred. The attacks demonstrated how 21st century terrorism has evolved. The combination of lone actor methodology, internet radicalization, ideological target selection, and propaganda distribution through manifestos and online platforms represents a distinct pattern that has since been replicated by others sharing Breivik's far-right worldview. Norway's response offers important lessons about resilience, the strength of democratic values, and the possibility of refusing to let terror achieve its goals. Yet the global rise in far-right violence since 2011 suggests that the threat Breivik represented has not diminished, but expanded. Understanding the Breivik attacks means grappling with uncomfortable truths about radicalization, the Internet's role in extremism, and the persistent appeal of violent ideologies. It requires acknowledging that terrorism is not confined to any single religion, ethnicity, or political tradition, but can emerge wherever grievance meets ideology, and individuals convince themselves that mass violence serves a greater purpose. The memory of July 22nd should serve not only as mourning for the lost, but as motivation for continued vigilance against all forms of extremist violence. The roses that filled Oslo's streets in the aftermath remain a symbol, fragile but beautiful, requiring care and protection, representing the possibility that democracy and openness can endure even the darkest days of terror.